Once again, as we're getting ready for the Star Radio UK evening show, I say good evening and welcome. This is Star Radio UK. Good evening and welcome as we're getting ready for the Star Radio UK, the Wednesday edition of Star Radio UK. Okay, I problem this Wednesday. The same problem standing in last week is what we're having again. Not sure why. Well, as we're getting started, is the Wednesday edition, the 19th day. And I say good evening to those of you that have joined us so far. It is Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, I think we know where the problem is. Sorry, Mr. Archie. Let's come back. I think that's why we're not getting any image. Once again, as we're getting ready, I say good evening to my producer, Mr. Frank David and Mr. Archie Almond, that are working tirelessly back in the studio. I say good evening to those of you that have joined us as well, and welcome to Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Once again, a very, very good evening as we're just kicking start. It is Star Radio UK, and this is how we do it every Wednesday as we start with the first track this evening. As we are continuing to look up to what is happening in Nigeria, it is a Wednesday edition, and this is how we do it. And I'm driving you back home. I say good evening to all our listeners, our viewers from around the world, and most importantly, to the back-end team, the engineer, the soundtrack engineer, and those that are back in the studio. I say good evening to all our fans around the world, and welcome to Star Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name is Yoruba Koiki, and every Wednesday, this is how we take you through whatever is happening from Star Radio UK. Most importantly, the Wednesday edition, where we look at the issues affecting Nigeria, and those that are the indigenous, as you know, my start, I am an indigenous person. But I remember, Frank, we always say that Nigeria is still a country. I apparently got a letter, that was received again this evening, by one of the self-determination movement, follower in UK. And I might be reading that letter to us later on. But this is how we roll it every Wednesday.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Mama sọ pé ẹ káàbọ̀ fún ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti darapọ̀ mọ́ wa in our beautiful language that is called the Yoruba language, and this is how we do it every Wednesday. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí ètò Starr Radio UK níbikíbi tí ẹ bá ti láǹfààní àti máa gbọ́ wa tí ẹ ti ń wò wá. Níbí ìbáyìí gangan ni a ti ń ṣe ètò tí a fi ń bá gbogbo ọmọ Nàìjíríà sọ̀rọ̀ àtàwọn ọmọ Yorùbá, ọmọ Biafra àti àwọn Haúsá. Ǹjẹ́ Nàìjíríà ṣì ń ṣiṣẹ́ fún gbogbo wa? I say good evening as we are getting ready.
Smartphone. In your car. At work. At home. On your smartphone. In your car. At work. At home. On your smartphone.
If you're joining me for the first time, I always say welcome to Starr Radio UK. My name is Jumoke Oyeleke, and every Wednesday, we take you through what is happening, the news, the development, and everything that needs to be known, for a lot of our African listeners. If you're listening from Tanzania, from South Africa, from Kenya, from Uganda, from any part of Nigeria, or if you're listening to me from Benue Republic, Benue Republic is being the highlight for the Yoruba recently. I remember during the Oyo Empire, Benin was part of us until the 1884 or 1888, the Berlin Conference, when the colonials were dividing Africa to their own benefit. This evening, we are back again, just as we've done so last week. And there's a lot of things happening, until lately, especially for those of us, following what is happening in Nigeria. And we keep asking the question again and again, is 2023 really going to solve all the lingering problem in Nigeria? It is the Wednesday, the 19th of October 2022, 10 minutes past 1800 hours. But for the benefit of those of you that are listening to me from back home, I say it is exactly 6 p.m. because the time zone is also different around the world. I'll be taking you around the world, as we do here on Starr Radio UK. We love different time zone. And if I go to New York or go to Toronto, it is just 10 minutes past 6 p.m. If I take you to Japan, they are actually sleeping. And I hope somebody's awake in Japan listening to me right there. Once again. If I go back to Libya, it's just coming to 10 minutes past 7 p.m. I don't know what time zone you are around the world. If you'd like me to know that, please put that out there. I will be reading all your comment as we do here on Starr Radio UK. I love to read your comment. I want to know, what is going on, for those of you that are listening to us from around the world. As Nigerians continue to prepare for the election, the question tonight is, almost 8 months, we saw the Nigerian student out of school. Most of them have been at home due to the ASU strike. But from the information that is getting to me, it seems that ASU has called off the strike and there might be an exam next month. My question is, how do you manage to have an exam after? This is Niger Voices on Starr Radio UK. How do you do an exam for those that have left school for almost 8 months and you're expecting them to pass the exam? It seems there's something fishy. Ó dàbí ìgbà tá a bá máa sọ pé nǹkan kan fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀ that the federal government between ASU are not telling us. Because if you're telling those that have left school for the last 8 months, sitting down at home, none of them have gone to the library. Some of them are probably, forgotten almost everything they've been taught. And you are now saying that they'll be going into an exam next month. I'm going to come back to that. But the news that I want us to also talk about is the death of Jumoke Oyeleke. A lot of us must have forgotten Jumoke Oyeleke, just as a lot of us probably forgotten about so many people that have been killed in Nigeria for the police brutality. But we have now received a judgment. I'll be talking about Nnamdi Kanu later on as well. But I want us to look at the outcome of the case of Jumoke Oyeleke. Jumoke Oyeleke is a 25-year-old Yoruba girl, Nigerian, a sales girl. And when we say sales girls, I mean, whatever she was selling on the day that the police killed her in Lagos State last year was probably less than 5,000 naira, which is equivalent to roughly, the exchange rate this morning was 830 naira. So if I have 10 pounds, I will literally have about 8,000. So for the benefit of our listeners back around the world, this beautiful Yoruba girl was murdered cold blood from the bullet of the Nigerian police in Lagos State last year during a peaceful protest by the Yoruba asking for self-determination. My question then is, are we sure that we really want to be part of a country where, just as we saw during the EndSARS 2 years ago, the military literally unleashed havoc and killed so many youth during the Lekki toll gate protest? And going to almost 2 years now, there's not yet justice to those that were killed. Is this the way we want to remain in Nigeria? Are we sure that Nigeria is for us? Temitope just says, end Nigeria to save lives. We saw the flood happening across Nigeria, and yet the government is not doing much to save lives. Jumoke Oyeleke lost her life just as Delegiwa was killed during the reign or the military era of Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida after receiving a letter bomb. It is not the first time that people have been killed in Nigeria, but the death of Jumoke Oyeleke in 21st century, and we're going to be having the image up very soon where the engineers are working behind the scene to give us, the beautiful image of Jumoke Oyeleke. She was killed. All she had done was just going out to make a sales, but her life was shortened by the Nigerian police brutality. The same reason why the youth 2 years ago were saying that the police system in Nigeria, it's literally not working. There have been so much cases. I was looking at, the beautiful Idara Gold. Idara Gold was kidnapped by the DSS in Nigeria for putting on a Biafra outfit. And the question to the youth is, are we really sure that this is how we want to remain in Nigeria? Some are saying that we can rectify the problem if we have the right leadership in Nigeria. And my question is, where has there been that leadership in the last almost 62 years of the independence of Nigeria? And the question again is, who truly is Nigeria going to work for? My name is Olayomi Koiki, and I'll be taking you through the journey tonight as we do on Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Keep your comment coming. I'll be reading those comments as we go into the program. Starr Radio UK is live on Twitter. Remember to follow the handle Starr Radio UK. You can also follow us on all our social media handle on Facebook, on YouTube. And I hope my, the back-end team will allow the chat on the YouTube, on Star Radio UK, to come up so that we can read our chat. Because I love the interaction. I love when people send their views and we can read them out in 21st century. Once again, a very good evening to everyone from the MixLR to the Instagram, from wherever you've joined me this afternoon or this evening or early hours in the morning, because in Japan, it's just 20 minutes past 2 a.m. My question is, why do we as Nigerians have to go through the pain that we are literally going through right now? What is the crime of someone like Idara Gold for putting on a Biafra outfit? What has she committed? She hasn't done anything. I'm going to come to Jumoke Oyeleke. But for you that are watching me back home this evening, as the engineer are putting on, the outfit that Idara Gold, another young Nigerian that believe in the cause of the Biafra, all she has done was putting on this beautiful outfit, but that is a crime in Nigeria. And my question tonight is, are we sure we live in a country that respects human rights? As I say all the time, in Nigeria, never happened to you. Putting on this kind of outfit in Nigeria is a crime. Idara Gold was missing for more than a year. Nobody knew whether she was dead or she was alive. All we knew was she was taken away by the Nigerian DSS for wearing a Biafra outfit. I mean, imagine me putting on these beautiful Yoruba tag, just as the Yoruba nation team that were traveling through Oja Odon, where their sticker was removed by the Nigerian security. What is our crime for being part of a country that was put together by the British government in 1914? I say welcome. Welcome once again. What is our crime? What actually have we done to go through the pain that we are literally going through today for being part of a unit that was never meant to be?
Starr Radio UK.
It is called Starr Radio UK.
This is Starr Radio UK.
It is called?
This is Starr Radio UK.
All she has done was putting on this outfit. But the DSS took her away from her family for more than a year until we saw her brought to the court today. Let me give you the background of the story. If you are a young, beautiful girl in Europe, in Asia, in America, and you believe in a cause and you are like a Scottish, Wales, and you are asking for self-determination, if you put on this kind of outfit or your own regalia, you would definitely spend a year in Nigeria prison. And this is exactly what the Nigerian system have done to the beautiful Idara Gold. Just as we will be discussing Jumoke Oyeleke, where we've got a verdict. Nnamdi Kanu has been acquitted of all charges, but the Nigerian system refused to release Nnamdi Kanu. So if the unit or the country known as Nigeria today is not going to work because of my outfit, why should we remain in that country is the question. Why should we be part of that system that refused to respect the rule of law? Nnamdi Kanu was asked, why do you want to be out of Nigeria? Why Biafra? There is no liberty in Nigeria. There is no justice. There is no fairness. We cannot deceive ourselves in 21st century that by putting on an outfit has become a crime. And if this is going to be the situation, why not allow the people that are asking for self-determination to go? Why must we be allowed to remain in a country that would not respect you for putting on an outfit like Idara gold? Let me go through what we know about these young Biafran that was missing, kept inhumane, just as what the Nigerian government did to the 12 innocent Yorubas that were removed from Chief Sunday Igboho's house after an assassination attempt on his life on the 1st of July. 12 innocent Yorubas were removed and they were kept in different prisons in the Abuja confinement of the DSS. Out of the 12, we also have a female that was subjected to all kinds of different manners, tortured, abused. Only the God of the Creator knows what they must have done psychologically to this very young Biafran. She's only 20 years old. As outrage has continued to trail the detention of the activist Idara Godwin, popularly known as Idara Gold by the Nigerian Secret Police Department Services, DSS, Idara Gold has been detained for more than a year without a trial until she surfaced today in Abuja High Court. Like I say, is this the Nigeria of your dream? Is this the Nigeria of your dream for those of you that continue to campaign that we should go for 2023 election? Rather than looking at Nigeria and decide whether the unit put together by the British government in 1914 is still sustainable or we need to dissolve it quietly. As the Biafra continue to demand an exit out of Nigeria peacefully, the Yorubas are doing the same thing. But it seems that the Nigerians is still adamant and they want to remain in Nigeria. And there's nothing wrong in that. That is your right. But all we can say is, may Nigeria never, never happen to any one of you. As we prepare to go to the next person, we are talking about a beautiful Yoruba sister. I'm talking about Yoruba sister that was also killed by the Nigerian police in Lagos State last year. My question is, should we remain as part of Nigeria, the Yorubas, or we pull out? But we have millions of Yoruba that are saying that we should allow we should allow to go into 2023 and that will resolve all our problems. I say good evening if you're joining me for the first time at exactly 27 minutes past. And I say once again,
Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
It is Starr Radio UK. And I say good evening once again. Let me quickly see some of you that have joined us on our platforms across the globe. Good evening to you, Ibukun Ogunfeiti. No certainty, not in the country we want. It is time for the Yoruba nation. Sonki, the lawmakers are still leader. They are all work hand in hand. Additional, Adeyemo say, I have a document analyzing the payroll of average senator in Nigeria. In a month, you can know why Nigeria keep borrowing without nothing to show for it. Again, Oloyede Babe say, we would never forget the death of those that were killed on the 20th of October 2020, as Idayatu Murena is reminding of the day the NSAS were killed. Nepa Adeyemi say the answer is no. Abdul Salam Adeyemi sends a lot of love and also thumbs up. Bridget Agboma also sends prayer and love. and I believe you sent me a crown. I don't know when I'm going to be a king. Fakunle Olaide say, messed up country. Frank Dudu said, Jumoke killed by Odumosu, the head of the police in Lagos State. Prince Adeola Lamilekon said the time in UAE is exactly 13 minutes past 9 p.m. Among Milasisi say, Equato. Keep your comment coming, and I'll be reading that across the length and breadth of the platform. Latif Momoni said, good evening to you, everyone. I say, good evening to you. Prince Latif Dele says, Koiki, good evening and well done. I say, good evening to you. Our mother, Comfort Adele, say, every day the government of that nation is graduating in every day. Adeni Rademola say, good evening. I say, good evening to you. Ayola Oluwatosin, wow, share. Temilola Olani say, good evening. Good evening to those of you that have joined me across the world. Oluwatoyaya, good evening to you. Lanre Olawakpo, sorry, I hope I didn't massacre your name. You say Yoruba National, no going back. Annie Balaji, I say good evening to you, our beautiful mother. Benga Arowolo say, Eku Isho Polo. Keep your comment coming and I'll be reading that. Moses say, good evening. Good, Mr. Koiki, God will continue to strengthen you. Idowu from Egijo in Ogun State. I say thumbs up to you from here in London, where we are streaming on the Starr Radio UK this evening. Every Wednesday. Olorewaju Arewolo say, you are well done, Mr. Koiki. Ebenezer say, good evening. Good evening to every one of you on all the platforms. I'm about to discuss the outcome of the case of Jumoke Oyeleke. And I want you to listen in details that whatever transpired last year had nothing to do with the Yoruba Nation movement, because all we have done throughout the rally last year was as peaceful, as calm as possible. And I believe nobody died until we arrive in Lagos. Let us remember that justice for Bamishe is still being in our mind. Bamishe Anyola, another young Yoruba girl killed just for getting into a public transport controlled by the Lagos State government. My question is, how are we going to continue to be part of a country that kills its own citizen? And as I welcome you all across every platform tonight, I want you to remember that there are so many families that have never received justice in Nigeria. That one is also something that should be back of our mind. Dadiyata is somebody that I remember each time my mind goes to activists in Nigeria. If I was meant to be in Nigeria, only Lord knows what I would have been going through. Maybe the government would have killed me. Maybe the government would have kept me without any trial, just as Idara gold was taken away from our loved ones for putting on a Biafra outfit. What is our crime? If Nigeria is not working for us, why should we then be allowed to remain in Nigeria? When has it become a crime to put on a regular of a country or a movement that you believe in? The Scottish are asking for a referendum from the British government in Parliament. And I'm not sure any Scottish will be kept in the prison for 1 year. Let's talk about Jumoke Oyeleke. And that's the picture of the beautiful Yoruba girl that was murdered, cold-blooded, last year of July. From what we have now been told by the coroner, the Yoruba Nation rally that was held last year had nothing to do with Jumoke Oyeleke. But the rally was held in Ojota in southwest Nigeria, known in Lagos. Just about 9 hours, and I'm not joking, if you're traveling from Ibadan. A journey of 40 minutes, you will spend 6, 8, 9 hours in the traffic. The rally went ahead. but something happened that will remind us of the brutality, the murder that has taken place in Nigeria for a very long time. This innocent Yoruba girl, a Nigerian, was murdered by the same security that is meant to protect her life. Her life was cut short just because she wanted to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. If the Nigerian police have not used a brutal force, these innocent 25-year-old Nigerian will still be alive today. But unfortunately, she was murdered. According to the Lagos State coroner, indicted the Nigerian police for the death of a 25-year-old sales girl, Jumoke Oyeleke. Jumoke Oyeleke was killed during the Yoruba Nation rally on the 3rd of July 2021 in Ojota area of Lagos State. She woke up to do what she loves to do without the help of the Nigerian government, the state government, the local government chairman. Nobody has literally helped her up to the death. If a lot of the youth were getting the help from Nigeria, it would have been much better. But it's a country that has neglected 60% of their youth into abject poverty. No job for those that have qualified, no access to any quality good things in Nigeria. But yet, a lot of them are saying that they will use their PVC to chase away whoever, like the APC, that have literally crumbled the economy today. The coroner magistrate, Mukaila Fadeyi, that conducted the inquest, concluded in his findings that the police shot the disease and caused her ultimate death. Imagine that Jumoke died in the hand of the Nigerian police in Lagos State. May her soul rest in peace. My question is, can we continue like this? Is this the way we have to continue to pretend that everything is fine in Nigeria?
Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
It is Starr Radio UK.
At work, at home, on your smartphone. In your car, at work, at home, on your smartphone. In your car, at work, at home, on your smartphone.
The magistrate Fadeyi held that the only logical conclusion the court can make from his investigation is that Jumoke died from a Nigerian gun or weapon by the Nigerian police.
At work, at home, on your smartphone.
I repeat that again. According to the logical conclusion, the court can make from his investigation is that the deceased died from a weapon by the Nigerian police. It therefore recommended that the federal government should pay compensation to the family of the deceased. Are you sure that compensation is worth the life of this innocent 25-year-old Yoruba Nigerian? What amount of money can you give to the family of these victims? The coroner also recommended that the Lagos State government should encourage the federal government to ensure proper training and retraining, reorientation of the police officer on the right to hold protests in a democratic setting. It is not a crime to gather together and say you want to have a peaceful protest. It is done around the world. It is currently going on in Paris as we speak right now. Why must it be different in Nigeria? It further asked the Inspector General of Police to ensure a total overhaul of police force to fish out the bad eggs and ensure that they're brought to book to forestall further accidental killings. Again, we pray for the family of Jumoke Oyeleke.
Starr Radio UK.
The magistrate, Fadeyi, also recommended that regular mental and medical checkups should be instituted for the police officer to determine their suitability to bear arms. Imagine it is only in Nigeria that the Nigerian security believes that their weapon should be used against innocent Nigeria, just as so many Nigerians were crying around the world when the Nigerian security killed during the NSAS at Lekki Toll Gate. Till date, no justice has been served to those that committed the crime. It is not a crime to ask for a peaceful protest, but the crime is that the Nigerian security in Lagos, just as they've done across Nigeria, went with live ammunition. What is the recommendation from the magistrate? Let's listen. He concluded that access to Freedom Park should never be blocked or condoned off in the future. So that means if the Yoruba wants to go back again and have their peaceful protests in Ojota, we have the right to do so, because this is exactly what this judgment have told us. So for those of you that are concerned that when the super rally is announced, we will not have right to go across different parts of the Yoruba land for a peaceful protest, this judgment have just specified that you have the right. The magistrate, Fadeyi, concluded that access to Freedom Park should never be blocked or condoned off in the future, and that no police officer detailed to protest rally on the ground should be issued live bullet. So when we come out for the super rally, we are not expecting a live bullet to be used, because this is exactly what the judgment says on the court case of the death of Jumoke Oyeleke that was killed by the Nigerian government security last year, July. May her soul rest in peace. So if you're still concerned, at least a judgment like this has given us the hope that we are all been asking for. And what is that hope? The hope that if we ever have to come out for any rally in Nigeria, it is our right, and the expectation is the Nigerian government should not be using a live ammunition. I know that is not going to be truthful. So if anyone is sitting here telling you that the Nigerian government is not going to come with live ammunition, I know definitely we should be shaking our head. For me to speak our beautiful language to those that are watching me in our villages, in our towns, across the Yoruba land, or if you're watching me in the northern part and you're a Yoruba person, ètò tá à ń ṣe lénìí òun là ń pè ní Starr Radio UK, tí a ti máa ń gbé yẹ̀wò gbogbo tó ń lọ nínú Nàìjíríà, gbogbo ìkà tí ó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nínú Nàìjíríà tí ìjọba Nàìjíríà ń ṣe fún àwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà. Ìyẹn la fi ń sọ fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ṣì ń gbọ́ gbogbo nǹkan sọ nínú Nàìjíríà pé, is Nigeria working for you? Let me remind you of this beautiful picture as well of Mr. Oluwagbenga Owolabi that was killed by the terrorists in Nigeria July this year. 28, he was kidnapped. Ransom was paid to the tunes of thousands of pounds and dollars, but he was eventually killed. He has been buried by the love of his family that returned the body back to Maryland, where he had a better befitting burial. But Rachel Okpadele, the one next to you on that same image, also was murdered by the Fulani terrorists. The question is, who is Nigeria working for? This is Starr Radio UK as we are just going into the first segment of the program. It's coming up to 15 minutes past 7 p.m. and I welcome you all around the world. My name is Yoruba Koiki, and if you're joining me for the first time and you're not sure what platform is this, it's called
This is Starr Radio Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Let me read some of your comment as it's coming through. Mrs. Comfort Adelaide said they are not going to obey the court order. Lawless country. Odua, all the evil politicians will go unpunished. Fadeke Olamile TJ, 371 ethnic group, different idea, different religion, different food, different language. Amalgamation has expired. Yoruba nation now. Adewale Adeniyemi says, good evening, sir. I say good evening to you as well. You can tell me the location you're watching from, but if you don't want to tell us, especially those of you in Nigeria, you can just hide it. Fadeke Olamilekon said, the white lion, Nigeria is a disaster. Jolayemi Rachel, good evening to you and shalom to you, my brother. How are you? Nigeria is a disaster, but a lot of Nigerians, and I've asked the question, who are you to believe in Nigeria? I want you to come and argue with us on this platform on Starr Radio UK, Nigeria Voices every Wednesday. Tomorrow is the Property Hour. Make sure you join us. And remember to follow us on www.starradio.uk, where you can follow almost everything happening from the blog, the news, starradiouk.com. Remember to download our apps. And every Wednesday, you will find me here. 19th of October, Wednesday edition. As I continue to look at the update, I'll be giving you the latest news. As we remember almost everyone that have been going through the difficulty in Nigeria, let me also, remind you that it is not a crime for those of us seeking self-determination. Let me go to the next platform and read some of your comments. Samuel Oladokun says, and I quote, well done, my brother Koiki. Good job, no going back, Yoruba nation now. Shitu Omomi, well done, good job. You also came up with a beautiful, ha ha ha. Also, Ajayi Gabriel, good evening to you. Evangelist Abimbola Adeniyi says, hashtag Yoruba nation now, hashtag Yoruba, no going back. Adekunle Emitomi, God bless Yoruba nation. Femi Orelokwe, and Mutairu Abiodun, good evening to you. Olu Victoria said, Mr. Koiki, I graduated from University of Ibadan, Nigeria in 2015, but one of my lecturers said I will be selling soap. Wow. After my graduation, I think he was lying, but I weep a lot after leaving my undergraduate study in the UI. Yoruba nation is not going back. Imagine somebody that left in 2015 doesn't still have a job. I'll be telling you, the naira value as it continues to depreciate around the world. The value of the naira is as tissue paper that you use in the toilet. The economy of Nigeria continues to drive down. It's not progressing for the last 62 years. And the question is, are you sure that the election would turn things around and make our life better as Nigerians? I don't believe that. But if you are still of the view that Peter Obi will sort out Nigeria and give us a better economy, what has he done literally to prove that in Anambra State when he was the governor? If you think that Atiku, that was one time the vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, with Obasanjo, that also told us that we should watch Atiku very well. The question is Atiku to be trusted to unite Nigeria, even though he says he has married from every tribe in Nigeria? Does that guarantee anything? He lives all his life in Dubai and he comes back home every 4 years to contest an election. Do you think that Tinubu, that is using Emilokon, proving himself that he will turn things around and trying to get the sympathy of the Yoruba people, and some Yorubas are thinking that we will buy into that? What is his own record in Lagos State as an 8 years governor, apart from creating as many thugs and agbero that is disturbing the Igbo people that are selling in international trade fair today? Are you not ashamed as a Yoruba man collecting, extorting money in a business environment when you should be getting a job of your own and also businesses and becoming better for your lives and your family? But rather, you are disturbing the peace in the international trade fair in Ojota or Alaba rather. I saw the video. Is it not a shame that that is what Tinubu created during his tenure as the governor of Lagos State? So he's now using that sentiment. Èmi ló kàn, ẹ wá ló kàn. The question is, those of you Yorubas that are doing all this agbero, you should be ashamed that this is what Tinubu created for the last 8 years. Tinubu is part of the problem of Nigeria by bringing in APC of President Muhammadu Buhari that has literally created havoc to the Nigerian economy, and Nigerians still remain number 6 when it comes to the Global Terrorism Index. If you're joining me for the first time around the world, this is
Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Tinubu supported Buhari, and today no Nigerians can move from point A to B without being kidnapped. And he's now using the sentiment, Èmi ló kàn. You created the thugs, you created the agbero, and you are now saying Èmi ló kàn. You cannot do anything under the 1999 Constitution. Not even Omoyele Sowore can do anything. Not even Kwankwa. So the question then is, why should we remain in Nigeria and not allow Nigeria to dissolve so that the ethnic groups can take care and make sure that they have dividends of government? I'll be giving you all the news headline from Nigeria at exactly 1900 hours. We're just 12 minutes away, and it's just about 10 minutes to 2 p.m. in Toronto, Canada. In New York, it's 10 minutes to 2 p.m. In Japan, it's 10 minutes to 3 a.m. In Libya, you're just 10 minutes to 8 p.m. And here in London, it's just 10 minutes before 7 p.m. My name is Jumoke Oyeleke. Keep the comment coming. How can you graduate since 2015 and you still don't have a job? Good evening to you, Alao Tijani. Good evening to you, Abdullah Jamil. Ilolominira Yoruba Dani. Sabino says Nigeria is a crime scene and breed criminal, and Nigeria to save lives. I cannot agree more than that. Allow the Biafra to dissolve, allow the Yoruba to dissolve, allow the Arewa to dissolve. Nigeria cannot continue to run under the fake 1999 constitution that was put together by the same military cabal. Tinubu that is shouting Èmi ló kàn cannot do anything under the fake 1999 constitution. And he can come and argue with us on Starr Radio UK, and we can ask him all those questions. They are always running away from interview. The Yorubas have spoken their mind that they do not want to be part of the unit called Nigeria that was put together by the British government in 1914. It is time that we allow Nigeria to dissolve. Nigeria is not going to work. Let's read more of your comment. If you're just joining us, remember that this is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. We couldn't have done this every Wednesday without the work that is being put together by the team behind the scene.
This is Starr Radio UK.
It is Starr Radio UK every Wednesday edition. Prince Adiola Olamilekon, you sense a lot of lions. Wow, I'm scared now. Let's take some of your comment as it's coming as well. They're coming very fast, and I'll be reading some of those comments. Keep it coming. Shegun Honor says fake constitution. Na Abdul Salam military decree. Somebody literally sent me a song, and I wish I could find that song. A very beautiful song, just like Nigeria jaga jaga, everything's scatter scatter. I hope Idris Abdul Karim is doing very well. He's been sick lately, but we haven't heard it from him. I hope he's doing very well. Adesina Adeyemo say thugs are disturbing both the Igbos and the Yorubas. Transportation prices hike is unbearable in Lagos. Imagine that Agbero, the thugs, you don't know what is called Agbero if you're not from Nigeria. These are the criminal thugs that were put together by all the political parties, whether in the southeast of Nigeria, the southwest of Nigeria, the northwest, the northeast, the north central. They've been creating havoc and making life unbearable for the motorists and the passengers that are driving through each of the road network in what is called Nigeria today. Rather than Lagos State government to take the full control of the transportation system, they've given it to Agbero. And today, everybody is thinking that Nigeria is for every single one of us. May Nigeria never happen to you, because our sister was killed inside what is meant to be a Lagos unit transportation that would have been able to protect her life. She died. I'm talking about justice for Bamishe. We cannot deceive ourselves that Nigeria is working. As more Yoruba people taking their rally and campaign, I'll be telling you more about that later on as we are getting ready for the announcement from the one and only Chief Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, very soon. He'll be giving us a date regarding the rally. The 1914 amalgamation has literally expired, and we are now asking, are we sure that we still want to remain Nigeria, going to renew the fake election? But a lot of Nigerians are saying that we should go into that election with our PVC and determine our fate. Are you sure? The late Chief Obafemi Awolowo tried the same thing in 1959, but we now knew exactly what happened and what transpired. I'll be telling you exactly about that because I now have an article that I read later on today. Once again, may Nigeria never happen to any one of you or your family or your loved ones. My name is Jumoke Oyeleke, and if you're joining me for the first time, once again, this is what we call
Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
We send our greetings to all the coordinator in Shaki, local government area in Okeogun, for the beautiful. How many of you saw the view from Shaki? Once again, the picture behind there is the late founding father, as we were told, only not to be told that Lugard is the founding father, because Lugard created Nigeria, not the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. So if anybody's telling you that the founding fathers are Nnamdi Azikiwe and the late Obafemi Awolowo, just tell them that Lugard created Nigeria, and the reason why we are going through that problem, I'll be telling you that. Okeogun is a very beautiful outskirt of southwest Nigeria, and I can only just wait to see development, the amenities, the motor cart, the transportation system, the airport, the hotel, where people will be traveling from around the world just to come and look at the view of Okeogun. It can never happen in Nigeria. Let me give you what we know during the time of the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. We conducted fraudulent census to favor the North, decimated the South, the British ex-colonial officer. I'll be sharing the link for those of you that are watching us. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name is Jumoke Oyeleke as we continue all the news headline coming out of Nigeria at exactly 5 minutes from now. I'll be telling you everything you need to know from the news headline in Nigeria. May Nigeria never happen to you or your family. May Nigeria never happen to me and my family as well. Because if Nigeria happened to you and your family, you will literally understand what we are saying. Tourism is a must for the Yoruba sovereign Nigeria, Yoruba and Europe sovereign nation. I can't wait to see how tourism will flourish. But what do we know? As a lot of Nigerians are saying that we should go for the election, let me remind you.
Later on today, once again,
let me remind you that in 1959, the British government rigged the first ever election in Nigeria. And today, the British government is saying that Nigeria is a sovereign nation and we should allow it to run its course and allow it to have its own president elected by Nigerians. But what the British government have not told us is, why have you and who gave you the audacity to put Nigeria together as one unit, knowing fully well that we were never one and we can never be one? Who gave that order? May Nigeria never happen to any one of us. I'm going to be sharing that link for the benefit of those of you that would like to read further. I'm talking about the link to the news I'm about to tell you right now. We conducted a fraudulent election. This is not coming from me. It's coming from one of those colonial British ex-officer that told us. Thank you so much, to my back-end team on the Starr Radio, and I have my comment section is up and running on the YouTube on Starr Radio UK. If you want to put that comment there, Rahim Abbas said, Nigeria is not working anymore. Lee Ajayi said, well done, White Lion, more strength to your elbow, Yoruba Nation now. Akinlade Olua Fumilayo say, good evening, my dear brother. And the time now is in Libya. I'll give you the time here because I have the time zone here. It's about 8 p.m. now in Libya. Good evening to you, Madam Idiyatu Moriano. Go on the Star Radio UK, put your comment there on YouTube, follow us on all the platforms, and I'll be telling you more on everything you need to know. So for the benefit of those of you that are not sure, the British conducted a fake census, and today we are all facing the brunt of the damage that was created by the British government. 371 different ethnic groups was put together by the British government in 1914. But the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the picture behind you, also contested, but only for him not to know that the census has been rigged 2 minutes before 7 p.m., the local time here in London, as we continue. And if you're joining me for the first time, I say good evening once again. Welcome. According to what we know by Harold Smith, a one-time colonial civil servant, Mr. Harold Smith had confessed how the British colonial administration in Nigeria had conducted fraudulent census in the country. And today, that has given the upper edge to those that are in the northern part of Nigeria today, giving us the impression that the North has the number against the South. And that literally means that the North has more representative in the House of Assembly and as a senator in Nigeria. So it does not matter whatever you take into the House as an argument, because we have now been told that even in the Senate, if they are meant to vote for anything to favor other region, it will be wind down. And we got to know that after the interview by the former governor of Ogun State, Amosun Ibukunle. I can't call him senator, because these are not, politicians that are working for the people. Ibukunle Amosun, as we know, told us during an interview he granted to one of the media in Nigeria that during the voting system, and each one time that they want to vote for having a state police, majority in the Senate vote it down. And the question is, why is that happening? It's because the British literally created a fake census as we were going into the 1960 election, or independent rather. So today, after 62 years of the independent, we are still told that the North has the number against the Southwest and the Southeast. 7 p.m. local time on Star Radio UK. Let's read some of your comment. I'll come back again to that article. Waris Jinadu said the British commit a lot of atrocity to their artificial state name. Sadiq Abisoye, British commit a lot of atrocity in Nigeria. Africa, a word of uncertainty. The origin is a foreign to Yoruba. Emmanuel Cole said, good evening, Mr. Koiki. Keep up the good work. I say good evening to you. Let's read more of your comment from all the platforms. Let me go on Star Radio UK and see if there's anything coming up there. Once again, if you're joining us, remember to subscribe on the Star Radio UK channel so that we can continue to watch all the news. 62 years of madness, Sadiq Abisoye says. Let me read more of your comment from those of you on our sister channel. Charles Arillo has also shared a news. Breaking terrorists continue to ravage problem in Nigeria. Miss Lagbaja, I hope it's not the same Lagbaja that covers his face. Calling me a Nigerian is a blackmail and total violation of my human right. It is unequivocally a character assassination in the international community. I hereby appeal to the international community to help in the dissolution of this zoological republic called Nigeria, because self-determination is my right. And that is exactly my own belief as well. Kenny Adelano says, good evening, White Lion. Well done, Yoruba Nation now. Olanrewaju says, the constitution is a totally fraudulent, no any way out for them to dissolve it. And I'll play what Robert Clark said. Good evening to you, my own uncle, Karunwi Abiodun. And as you all continue, good evening to those of you that have joined us as well. Odua, first child say, Agbero in Alaba market are fighting with the traders. Is that not a shame? This is what Tinubu created as a Lagos State governor for the last 8 years when he was a governor. Agbero all over the place when they should be in the factory producing something that will be benefiting Nigerians if truly Nigeria was a country. Let me go back quickly to that article. And that article, for the benefit of those of you that would like to read further, has now been shared on all our platforms. You can read through and then you can take your own judgment. Good evening to you, Aziz Adeleke. You say Zanako Yoruba Nation and going back. Good evening to you, Bisola Oladele, our beautiful all aunties, sisters, mothers, grandmother. You click on that link, it will exactly take you to that link. Akanji Odewumi, I say good evening to you. Oriyomi Justice says, Mr. Yotomi. That's a beautiful name. Now, let me read further what Harold Will-Smith told us about what actually took place during those era. During the time before the 1914 amalgamation and just after, as we were getting ready to have our independence, the British government was doing something different. They were cooking the numbers for the Northerners. Harold Will-Smith was a British colonial administration in Nigeria and had conducted a fraudulent census in the country. Wow. Harold Smith, he has passed on. He was in his 80s when he granted this interview, I think around 2007 or thereabout. But he's there, he has passed on, and may so rest in peace, for telling us the truth before he died. Reveal what went behind the scene before the independence. While we were all preparing for independence, behind the scene, the British government was cooking the numbers for the northern part of Nigeria, and that literally make it true that the North won that election, even though we know that there was no numbers in the North. He said that in the past, they did not want me to say anything, but now I don't want to go to my grave without telling the truth about the atrocity perpetrated in Africa by the colonialists. Our agenda was to completely exploit Africa. I'm not the one saying this. This is what Harold Smith told us. May so rest in peace. This is still Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name is Jumoke Oyeleke, and it's exactly now 5 minutes past 7 p.m., the 19th of October, Wednesday edition, as we continue to review why should we remain in Nigeria. May Nigeria never happen to any one of us. Let's continue. The Oxford University graduate had this to say about his role in Nigeria pre and after the independent era. He said that in the past, they did not want me to say anything, but now I don't want to go into my grave without telling the truth about the atrocities perpetrated in Africa by the colonialists. Our agenda was to completely exploit Africa. Nigeria was my duty post. When we accessed Nigeria, this was what we found in the southern region: strength, intelligence, determination to succeed well, establish history, complex but focused lifestyle, great hope and aspiration. This is what we, the Yorubas, are meant for. But the British never wanted that, and they created Nigeria that favor one particular ethnic group against the other. And the question then is, why should we all remain in that unit called Nigeria tonight? As Nigerians are excited about the 2023 election, we must continue to remind you of the past, of the damage that was created, and we cannot leave the past and move further. We need to ask the question, where is the 11th century of the Yorubas? Why should we remain in what was created by the British colonial during that era? The East is a good in business and technology. The West is good in administration and commerce, law, and medicine. But it was a pity we planned our agenda to give power at all costs to the Northerners. The Northerners was given power by all costs by the colonials during that era. And as a lot of you are asking the question, why is my life very difficult in Nigeria? It is because the North has been given more power against the intelligent Southwest and the Southeast. This is what Harold Smith told us before he died. They seem to be subversive and silly of kind. Our mission was accomplished by destroying the opposition at all fronts. It was literally a war that the British allowed the North to win the 1959 election that led to the independence of Nigeria that was created in 1914 in the first place, after all the slave trade. But as we are now told that we should remain in Nigeria, I am asking the question, Nigeria is not working. May Nigeria never happen to you. May Nigeria never happen to me. Nigeria is a crime scene. Once again, a lot is happening. I'm just getting a news filtering through from Benue State. Benue State, I'm just getting a news. I want to confirm that before we break that news. It seems there's been another terrorist attack in Nigeria, but let us confirm that before we reveal that information. Once again, we might be giving you a breaking news. Let us, once again, this is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Stop calling. This is Starr Radio UK. We're live on the program. As we continue to give you all the latest news and the updates, my question to those of us that are watching tonight is, we want to be sure that the news that is coming through is genuine before I go into that conversation. So bear with us as we're doing some background verification, but we will continue with the program while we give you that news headline in just a few minutes. Good evening to those of you that have joined us from around the world. Yes, I think the news is confirmed. The news is confirmed. There's a breaking news coming out of Nigeria, a very sad one. There's a breaking news. I'll be giving you that news from Benue State. Bear with me. Yes, the news is now already live on all the social media. We can confirm the news. 24 people have been killed in Benue as we speak right now. 24 people have been killed by the Fulani terrorists as we speak right now. That's a very sad one. The breaking news coming out of Nigeria. Breaking news coming out of Nigeria. 24 innocent lives have been lost again from the Fulani terrorists. 24 lives have been lost. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. This is Starr Radio UK, and as I say, there's a breaking news coming out of Nigeria. Fulani terrorists has attacked again. Fulani terrorists have attacked again. Breaking news. Let's take you through that breaking news. We come back to the other news that we are discussing. We need not to go straight to that breaking news. The breaking news coming out of Nigeria that is just reaching us through the wire this evening at exactly 11 minutes past 7. I can now confirm that 24 people have been killed, in Benue State again. Benue State, 24 people, including policemen, were killed at a separate community in Logo and Ikume local government area of Benue State as the local and the terrorists lock on. 17 local, 5 Fulani terrorists and one policeman were all involved in a separate attack that happened, between the early hours of this morning. It shows that the news has been so much delayed. It's just filtering through. What a very sad one in Nigeria. As we always say, may Nigeria never happen to you. Let us remind ourselves that when we say Nigeria is a crime scene, it is literally that, because when you look at the atrocity, the killings, the magnitude of the killing, and I guess, as the news is filtering through, let us remind ourselves that, this is the reason why we are saying that, is there still a country known as Nigeria, or is it time to shut it down? The news is just filtering through as I speak to you right now. I can't show you the images, but I can tell you that, officers were killed, police have been killed, average Nigerians have been killed, as the Benue community has now again faced a terrible situation. This is the breaking news coming out of Nigeria this evening on Starr Radio UK. Breaking news. There is a terrorist attack in Benue State. A lot of police officers have been killed. A lot of innocent people have been killed as well. This is the breaking news that is just coming through. As we always say, good evening to those of you that have joined us. If you're just joining me, the news is just coming through the wire from Nigeria at exactly 30 minutes past as we speak right now. There is a terrorist attack that have killed more than 24 people, including police officer. That is how far we can tell you. I'll be giving you all the news as we have it right now. But I can tell you, this is the breaking news that is coming out of Nigeria. Breaking news on Starr Radio UK. As we say all the time, may Nigeria never happen to any one of us. As we pray for those that have been affected, I hope, the situation, as we see it all the time, we talk about it all the time, but the breaking news that is just filtering through right now, as I have it right now, we cannot show you the images. I have images already that is being shown on the social media, but we cannot show you those images. Yes, breaking news, Benue community is going through a lot of problems as we speak right now. Almost 24 people have been killed, including police officer in Nigeria again today. What a very sad one. As we say, the government have never, done much to protect and secure lives of the attack. Those images are very brutal. We cannot show you. I have them in front of me right now as I speak to you. Those images are very, very brutal, but we won't be able to show you those images. But I have in front of me a police officer that has been shot dead in his uniform, in front of me right now. And likewise, multiple numbers of people already died, from the gunshot from the Fulani terrorists. As we say, this is coming from, a community known as Daji Town in Ikume in Benue State. It's not the first time that we are seeing a very attack in that community, but it seems that the government is not doing a lot to secure and protect lives and property. We hope that the government will be doing everything, to secure Nigerians, but I'm not sure if that is going to happen. A breaking news, like I say, as more people have been killed, by the Fulani terrorists coming out of Nigeria. So we're going to go back to our story. We have to add that breaking transmission, to give you that breaking news, but we go back to where we were prior to that. Once again, it's coming up to 15 minutes past. May Nigeria never happen to you. 15 minutes past, 7 p.m. local time in London, as the news is now filtering out from Benue State, where we will continue to monitor that. Once again, we pray for everyone that have been attacked and everyone that have been affected in that killings at Benue State. Once again, it's the breaking news. More than 24 people. I cannot share the image, but I have those images in front of me as I speak to you right now. It is a very sad situation Nigeria is going through as we speak right now. Breaking news. Multiple numbers, and when they tell you it's 24, be rest assured that the numbers is definitely going to be going very high by the time we come back again tomorrow. So let's now go back to where we were prior to that. Harold Smith was telling us how the British literally rigged the election to favor the Northerners in 1959 by giving us a fake census. Harold Smith confessed. Okay, let's go back. There seemed to be a submissive and silly of a kind. Our mission was accomplished by destroying the opposition at all fronts. The West led in the fight for independence and was punished for asking for freedom. Imagine the reason why we were punished was for asking for freedom. And I hope those of us that are campaigning and asking for self-determination will understand why we are saying that if we do not declare out of Nigeria, the West is not going to do anything. Like I said, I received a letter, from someone close to me, and I'm going to share that letter quickly. Bear with me. The letter is right in front of me. Let me share that letter, and I'm going to read that letter out quickly to every one of you. The letter was sent to me by one of our auntie that wrote to the Foreign Affairs. I told every one of you to write letter to them. She received, a reply back, and that reply, I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about that reply. Once again, there is a lot happening in Nigeria. Nigeria is going through a very, very difficult time, and we can only pray for those of you, back home at the moment. Once again, I have that letter that I'm going to be reading out. I have that letter that was sent, but let me deal with this first, and then I'm going to come back again to you on that. May Nigeria never happen to us. Once again, I ask those of you that are watching us, to please understand that there is a lot happening in Nigeria, and I pray that Nigeria never happen to you. Bear with us. We are, trying to make sure that we have that letter ready just as we finish the update from Aaron Smith. Aaron Smith told us everything we need to know about what the British actually did. The British favored the North against the South because we did ask for freedom. The reason why we are being punished is because we asked for freedom. Let's continue. Our mission was accomplished by destroying the opposition at all fronts. The West led in the fight for independence and was punished for asking for freedom. They will not rule Nigeria. Aaron Smith confessed that the census results were announced before they were counted. Despite seeing vast land with no human but cattle in the North, we still gave the North 55 million instead of 32 million. You can see why today, those in the North will tell you that we have the numbers, but nobody knows where the numbers are. The first census in Nigeria was rigged by the colonial era, during the colonial era, by the British government. Aaron Smith says 55 million was given to the North as against 32 million. And today, the North says they have the numbers against the South. Do you now understand why it does not matter? The South will always need the North to win an election, because the North will prove that they have the number against the rest of us. So if all this is happening, why should we remain Nigerian, and why not allow Nigeria to dissolve? But more Nigerians are saying that we can sort out all these problems among ourselves if we have a good leader, if we have the right people to lead the country. Do you agree to that as well? That the reason why we are going through what we are going through is because of leadership problem. Is that your view? Is that your take? Do you agree to that? Good evening once again to every single one of you that have joined us on all our platforms across the world. My name is Olami Koiki, and you've been watching and listening to Starr Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Nigeria is not working, but Nigerians are saying that we should keep Nigeria. The truth set you free. The numbers are eating in the desert sand. How many people knew that the British gave the North 55 million during the census as against 32 million? That is a huge number added. Aaron Smith. This was to be used to maintain their majority vote and future power bid. And 62 years down the line, the Yorubas, the Igbos, the middle belt will still rely in the northern part to complete a full circle election. This was to be used to maintain their majority votes. The North was seriously engaged. The North, and I want us to listen to this part. The northern part of Nigeria was seriously encouraged to go into the military. I'm sure you know why. The northern part of Nigeria was encouraged to focus more in the military, and that's exactly what they've done. All the military architect in Nigeria today is in the northern part of Nigeria, yet there's still more killings and terrorism happening in Nigeria. No be juju be that. Ṣé kò kí n ṣe juju nìyẹn pé gbogbo nǹkan àmúṣagbára ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà òkè ọya ló wà, bẹ́ẹ̀ terrorists ṣì ń ṣe wàhálà tó ń ṣe jàǹbá tó ń pa wọ́n. May Nigeria not happen to you and me. They've literally used the North to suppress the South and the Southeast and the Middle Belt. And today, I am asking the question, is it still worth allowing Nigeria to continue? Or should we just allow Nigeria to dissolve? The North was seriously encouraged to go into the military, Aaron Smith told us. And as I say to us, should we remain in Nigeria, we might not know what is going to happen in the next years to come. The economy is down. As I'm going to complete that part, and I'm going to take us to the headlines, then exactly after that, we're going to start discussing all we need to know about the update on the self-determination movement and everything as the preparation continue for those of us that are seeking a peaceful exit out of Nigeria. Nigerians, as we are all aware, history was taken away for a purpose. Imagine if a lot of Nigerians know what I'm discussing some 20 years ago, we would not have been able to remain in Nigeria. Once again, I cannot show you the image of what I've been telling you, but if you're going on our Twitter, you might be able to see one or two information there as well. 24 people killed in Benue State by the Fulani terrorists was the breaking news earlier. Let's go back again and look at what Aaron Smith told us. According to him, they believe that the southern part of Nigeria may attend Western education, but future leaders will always come from the military background. So as more Yorubas and the Southeast were reading, the Northerners were putting themselves in the military architect of Nigeria. So it does not matter how educated you are, the military continue to control us. Their traditional rulers were made to be influential and superhuman. The Northerners were given accelerated promotions, both in the military and the civil service, to justify their superiority over the South. Everything was to work against the South. This is the word of Aaron Will Smith. Are you sure that this is the Nigeria of your dream? As the election is getting closer, for those of you that are campaigning for a new election, I'm going to tell you what the British government is saying. For those of us that are also saying that we do not want to be part of Nigeria. A letter was received today again, and I'll be giving you the details of that letter in just about a few minutes. Nigerians, are you sure that Nigeria will work for you? Let me read some of your comment again quickly, because I'm sure we have a lot of the comment that is driving very fast. Oluola said the West cannot help us. Why Baba Akintoye waiting for the West to help? Very important question there. The West cannot help us. Why is Baba Akintoye? Let's take more of your comment on all our sister platforms. Afuakpe Olawale say, Mr. Koike, help us to bridge gap between the agitator. It is the work of the devil, Yoruba nation this year in Jesus' name. Darius Samuel said, good evening. I said, good evening, my brother. Truth set you free. Even the northerners will be better off in their own nation, e.g., a dissolved and disintegrated Nigeria. Oladunjoye Olaleye said, Nigeria should be dissolved now. PD okay with the security architect with Nigeria. Adekumbi, Adedunk Alabi, Grace Oyeyemi, good evening. Arole Odua, good evening. Adeosun Jimo, good evening. If you want to read about the document of the Harold Smith, go and look at it on my page, where we already shared that, and I already say, and I've done so already this evening. As we are just about an hour before the end of tonight's program, my question to everyone that is watching around the world, do you think that those politicians have your interest going into 2023 election, or they are just concerned about themselves, their cronies, to steal as many money and take it abroad, buy houses, and show you on Instagram how they eat chicken, how they travel to Dubai, how they travel around the world, while you continue to be part of a country that was put together not to work. God last Brown said, Nigeria, goodbye, expire country. I cannot agree more. Let me quickly complete that part of the education part that we're reading tonight. I want you to listen to this very well. We truncated their good plan for their future. I was very sorry for Action Group. It was a great party, too much for African standard. We plan to destroy Awolowo and Azikiwe. The West and the East sow a seed of discord among them. You can see why when we tell you, those of you that are now fighting, trying to steal from the Igbo traders, the Agbero that should have got a job in a production line, that should be working as a business person, you are now an Agbero, extorting money from the Igbo trader at the Alaba market, destroying everything that they are building because they are running a business in Lagos State. And then so what? As long as they are paying their taxes to the government, you have no right to destroy and extort them. This is what Tinubu created in that country called Lagos State, Southwest Nigeria, where all manners of different people have been used to extort innocent Yorubas and the Igbo and the rest of those that are living in what we call Lagos State today. Imagine that the Agbero that should be giving jobs, if truly Nigeria was working, all they do is extort from the hard-working Igbo people. And people will say, we own Lagos. Yes, we own Lagos does not mean you need to destroy the businesses of the Igbo. Why have you not got a job of your own rather than becoming an Agbero and disturbing, the environment? This is why we are saying that Nigeria will never work with the way the system has been created, where justice will never be served. We hope justice will be served to the late Jumoke Oyeleke that was killed by the Nigerian weapon. The British created all the problems in Nigeria for their convenience. Pastor Momo. I cannot agree more or less. Good evening to every one of you that have joined me. This is Starr Radio UK. Every Wednesday, I've been doing this for the last 5 years. As I say, we should not wait for those of us that are campaigning for self-determination. And I'm just going to give you what the view of the British with the letter that I received. Let me read that letter so that you can have an understanding that even what the British have done, they are still trying to tell us that, well, the situation should be sorted out among ourselves. How? That is why we need to declare Yoruba nation out of Nigeria, for those of us that are campaigning for our self-determination. If you wait for the British government, for the European Union, you will wait forever. And that's the truth. Because after I read this letter to you, you would understand why. Our mother that gave me this letter to read, I will not disclose her name, just for security reason. But she wrote 73 letters to the parliament, and one has been replied. I told you, let's keep those letters written to them. It is very easy and convenient, but a lot of you are not doing so. We must continue to write letters, email to the British government and telling them the reason why the Yoruba must exit. You will not get a better answer, but there will be record that we wrote them. But a lot of you are not doing that. And this now takes me to the segment where we're going to be discussing everything about the self-determination. Self-determination is not a crime. And today, as we continue to campaign for self-determination, I say, and I quote, may Nigeria never happen to any one of you. Nigerians that are campaigning for the politicians, let me remind you, the politicians will never have your interest at stake. The country was not created to function. Those that created Nigeria knows that the country is not going to function. And that is why we are saying that we should do everything within our power. Good evening to you, my beautiful sister, Auntie Temi. It's nice to sight you on the broadcast tonight. Bear with me, those of you that are watching on Instagram. We need to do some surgery as usual, because if not, it will look like I'm in Nigeria where the power surge always happens. So bear with me, those of you that are watching me, from Nigeria on Instagram, or those of you that are watching from around the world. I'm doing some kind of surgery here. I'm not in Nigeria. It's only in Nigeria that the NEPA takes light and there's no electricity. I don't live in Nigeria. I don't live in a country where rule of law is not respected. Once again, bear with me while I try to sort that out. Okay, and I think we got it sorted out. It might come in a landscape, but at least you can still see and enjoy the program, which is the most important thing. Nigerians that are asking us to remain in Nigeria, I'm asking you, what is the benefit that you have benefited from Nigeria in the last 62 years? What have you benefited from Nigeria? You can tell me in the comment section if you are still of the view and the opinion that Nigeria is working. I don't think Nigeria is working, and I don't believe that Nigeria would ever work. Nigeria is a crime scene, and that is the only thing I can relate to Nigeria. I think there's a comment on the Instagram. We already know that Nigeria is falling down. It can be up again. It can never be up again. Let's view what Lamido Sanusi say in the publicity. Are you saying it can be up again? It cannot be. I don't know whether you mean that it can be up. If you're saying that it can be up, you're probably living in a different world entirely. The British created Nigeria. So if anybody says Nigeria is going to work, you are probably living in a different land that is different from mine. Let me read the letter that was received. And like I say, may Nigeria never happen to us. My name is Jumoke Oyeleke, and you've been watching Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, where we give you all the news, the headline coming out of Nigeria. As we say, may Nigeria never happen to you. If Nigeria happened to you, you will understand the consequence of what I'm saying. So those of us that are watching us again, thank you so much, as we are now about 55 minutes before the end of the program, but we still have a lot to discuss. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us on Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Like I say, I'm going to read you a copy of the letter that was sent by the British representative, and the letter goes like this. To my producer, Frank David, Mr. Archie, and the rest of the technical team that are working behind the scene. Again, this is what I got from the response. Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office, Again, I told you, send an email to them at fcdo.correspondence@fcdo.gov.uk. This letter was sent as well on the 15th of August, and a reply came, I believe, some few days ago, according to, I cannot give you the name of the person that sent it, but I'm just going to give you the details of the letter. Thank you for your letter. Okay, the reply came back in August, but the letter was sent on the 6th of July to the Prime Minister in UK. Thank you for your letter of 6th of July to the Prime Minister about the recognition of Yoruba nation. I want you to follow details of this letter so that you can get the view and the perspective of the British government. For those of us that are asking us, let us go and tell the British to come and dissolve Nigeria or disintegrate Nigeria after the amalgamation. We are all going to wait forever. This letter will tell you that the British government is not going to help you to dissolve Nigeria. Thank you for your letter, dear mother. Let me just put it that way. Thank you for your letter of the 6th of July to the Prime Minister about the recognition of Yoruba nation. I am responding as a member of the Nigerian unit in the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. The UK government shares your concerns about incident of intercommunion violence in Nigeria. Our assessment is that the key drivers of these are competition over land and natural resources, historical grievances, and criminality. Religion can also be a factor. However, it is important to know that the perpetrators do not come from any one ethnic or religious group, and devastating effects are felt by communities of different faith and ethnicities. The UK support local and national peace building initiatives to tackle intercommunion violence, including through our work with Nigerian Governors Forum and National Peace Committee. Let's continue. Finally, you call for the UK government to recognize an independent Yoruba nation. The UK respects the territorial integrity of Nigeria. We encourage dialogue between many ethnic groups and communities that make up and contribute to the strength and diversity of Nigeria. The UK support and respect the Nigerian government commitment to work for secure and prosperous Nigeria for all its citizens, and its commitment to working with Nigeria in support of its objective. Yours sincerely, Vanessa. Nigerian Unit, Foreign Commonwealth. I'm going to share this letter, but without the details of the person that sent it. This is the view of the British government for those of us that are waiting that the British will help us to disintegrate Nigeria. That is never going to happen in our lifetime if we all wait for that, based on this letter that I've just read. And that letter now is going to be prepared so that we can now have that letter circulated across all the Yoruba media platforms and everyone. Good evening to you, Mrs. Ojora Elizabeth, and welcome, as I've just read a letter that was received again by one of our mothers from the British government. May Nigeria never happen to you and me. For those of us that know that Nigeria is not going to work, I know that because Nigeria is not meant for us. So I'm going to now prepare that copy of the letter without the name of the person and the details of who sent it to me. So we're going to have that letter snip out now. The question then is, now that the British is telling us, based on this letter that I've just read to us, this letter indicates what the British thinks about Nigeria. We will never get an answer from the British government to disintegrate Nigeria on our behalf. That is not going to happen. So if any one of us is waiting for that, we will wait forever. Once again, let us remind ourselves that asking the British to help us out is like waiting for something that is never going to happen. You will get a copy of the letter in just about a few minutes. Just bear with me while I work on some of the nitty-gritty, because we don't want to give you the details of the person that sent the letter. So I now have that letter ready, and I'll be sharing that across all the platforms in just about a few minutes. So if you receive this letter, please share that as well, so that everyone can also have a copy. Nigeria is never going to work. But there's more Nigerians that are saying we should keep Nigeria. I don't know for what reason. My name is Jumoke Oyeleke, and you've been watching the Starr Radio UK Niger Voices every Wednesday. Bear with me, I think we lost that letter again. And I guess we have it now as well again. Why should we remain Nigerians, knowing fully well that it is not working for you and me? Why should we remain in Nigeria is the question. As we are telling those of us that still do not understand that the British government knows that Nigeria is a sovereign country, that actually put Nigeria together, and they're not going to do anything to help you dissolve Nigeria, because that is not the job of the British government. The British government will not allow Nigeria to break like that. The responsibility will be in our own hands. And if we do nothing and say nothing, that will literally mean that we will remain in Nigeria for a very long time. This letter that I'm about to share to us, when you receive a copy of that, just also you can share that to your loved ones as well, so that you can have an idea when I say that it is good that we continue to tell the world our concern for those of us that want to be independent. So this letter is now fully ready, and it is now officially on our social media page. You can get a copy of that to read. This is what the British views This copy of the letter has indicated that the British government believe that it's just an intercommunion clashes, and we can resolve this problem. How? I don't know. How the British government expect us to live together in what we call Nigeria with 371 different ethnic groups today is still something that I want to find out. Let us continue to ask the burning question for the benefit of every one of us. Are you sure Nigeria is going to work? You can get it. You can grab a copy of this letter from our page, and it's also going to go live on our website at 15 minutes before 8 p.m. I'm going to read that letter again. But if anyone thinks that the British would help us in our quest to self-determination, we are going to wait forever. It is not the job of the British government to dissolve Nigeria. It is our own responsibility, and that is why we are saying that when the clarion call is made for us all to come out, We must all do so in our millions. 5 million of us has to come out and tell the world why we want to stay out of Nigeria as an independent sovereign nation. If we fail to do so, that will be the end. And we will not get opportunity to have our own nation again. The British will never allow Nigeria to break. And that's the fact. As we are sharing that copy of this letter, I want us to study it and also take our time to understand that the British job and role is to keep the sovereignty of Nigeria and the integrity of Nigeria. But for those of us that are campaigning for self-determination, it is our own responsibility to tell the world that we are the indigenous people that has been in that territory before the British came in 1914 as friends, only for them to take away what belongs to us. When you get a copy of that letter, don't keep it to yourself. Share that letter, because that is evidence to prove that the British government does not want Nigeria to break. And that is a fact. And we must continue our campaign to tell the world that we are indigenous people and we were never Nigerians as we have been told. There's nobody called Nigerian. We are all indigenous people. It is the British that actually joined us together in 1914. This is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. The copy of that letter is also already on our Twitter page. If you want to get a copy, you can go on Starr Radio UK. If we wait, we are going to wait forever. If you go on, if you follow me on KOIKIMEDIA, you can get a copy of that letter on the Twitter. As I speak to you right now, I have actually put that letter right there. This is the view of the British government. I'm going to read that letter one more time. Nigerians, it is time that we ask the question. An election is not going to solve your problem. The British government rigged the first census in Nigeria by giving more votes to the more numbers to the north. The north actually had 32 million, but the British actually added more to that number. Let us all now start asking the British government the serious question. Why should we remain in Nigeria that was created by you? But they are saying that Nigeria is a sovereign nation and they cannot do anything to help you dissolve Nigeria. You would have to take that in your hands. Fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tó bá gbọ́n tí mo bá ń sọ, lẹ́tà tí mo ṣe ń sọ yìí, àgbà ní ọwọ́ àwọn British government tó ń sọ fún wa pé àwọn ò lè ṣe kankan sí ìrìn àjò Yorùbá nation tẹ́ ń pariwo, because ẹni tó kọ lẹ́tà yẹn in tó kọ ni pé ó sọ fún British government pé a fẹ́ kó recognize Yorùbá nation. British government dẹ̀ sọ pé àwọn ò lè recognize Yorùbá nation. Ìtí mo wá ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ gbogbo yín lẹ́yìn àṣálẹ́ ni pé ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe máa dúró títí lélẹ̀ pé à ń dúró de British government kó wá recognize wa ká tó kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà. Gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń fẹ́ òmìnira Yorùbá, àsìkò tí a gbọ́dọ̀ bíra wa ní òtítọ́ pé ṣé British government máa jẹ́ kẹ́ lọ? Because this letter that I'm just going to read again has proved that the British government does not want us to break away. And it is time that we tell ourselves the truth. The truth could be painful. I'm also going to read something that is just coming up to my desk right now. Nigeria, a critical junction, say no to 2023 election, an address by Reverend David Toby Salami, September 18, 2022. And I guess it's a YouTube video that you might probably have to go and watch. I might have to go and watch it as well. Nigeria, a critical junction. Let us all say no to 2023. But a lot of Nigerians are saying we can keep Nigeria. And I ask the question, how? How do you want to keep Nigeria, a country that is not functioning, a country that does not have the rule of law? How do you want to do so? Let us remind ourselves that the British will not break Nigeria for you. For the Biafrans that are waiting, for the Yorubas that are waiting, the British government is not going to break Nigeria. We have to keep asking ourselves. The only way out now is to continue our quest both the Biafra, both the Arewa, every one of us must now wake up that our quest for the Yoruba and the Biafra nation our quest for the Yoruba nation, our quest asking that we do not want to be part of the British entity that was created, both the Biafrans and the Yoruba, we must all now respond to that letter as quickly as possible. The letter that the British has told us that they are now thinking that is a communion clash. This is not a communion clash. This is an agenda to keep us together forever, and we must not allow that. It is time that every single one of us must wake up. As we continue to tell the world, we must now have the full determination to exit Nigeria before it is too late. Nigerians has to now wake up. That letter is now in circulation. Please, if you come across that letter, you can also pass it on to the next person. If you go on our page, I'll be putting that on Instagram as well later on. I'll be putting that everywhere. Let us all unite and tell the British government that what you've done is no longer functioning. We must turn off the oxygen in Nigeria so that we can save lives. Millions of Nigerians are going through a difficult time. As a Biafran, you are not allowed to put on an outfit in what we call Nigeria today. That should not be tolerated. The reason why Idara gold was kidnapped by the DSS is because of this outfit. As an activist that believe in self-determination, that is not a crime. Self-determination is not a crime, and we must not be bullied by the Nigerian government. Once again, may Nigeria never happen to you and me. I will share a little bit more from that letter in terms of those of us that wants to write them, because I just believe Simon Ekpa is also preparing to write a letter, and we will write a response back quickly to the British government. We must not sit back and allow these injustice to continue. We must do everything as quickly as possible to tell the British government that the mess that was created is no longer functioning. And we must stop it now before it is too late. And it can only be done if every one of us put our energy together. If not, you will not be able to live in Nigeria. Because if you put on an outfit like what you are seeing right there, again, you might be coming across two different information. Let us share it when it comes to you. Nigerians, it is time that we face the problem together as indigenous people. If we fail to do anything now, we have failed forever. 2023 election is like renewing the death trap that was put together. We must not cave into that. And we must not be bullied by anyone thinking that asking for self-determination by the Biafrans or the Yorubas or the Arewa is a crime. It is not a crime. It is our fundamental human right. And today, all we can say is, I want us to write to the Nigerian unit again at King Charles. We told you that the last time. And I want us to do the same thing again. King Charles Street. I'm going to be reading more of your comment. It's 2 minutes before 8 p.m. as we're just about half an hour before the end of the program. And later on, I'll be joining the world media for the Wednesday edition of the program that takes place within the world media for the Yoruba self-determination. As I'm winding down from here, I want to remind you that it is our collective responsibility to send email at fcdo.correspondent and ask that why should we remain in Nigeria at FCD. Let me double check that. We must do everything within our collective effort. Yes, at fcdo.correspondent@fcdo.gov.uk is the email address. At fcdo.gov.uk. So that is the email address and the address to send the official letter. You can send them a letter or you can send them an email. All these details is already on our social media. Nigerian Unit, King Charles Street, London, SW1A 2AH. Keep that letter. Continue to send it. This is still Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. As we say to those of us, it is our right to self-determination under the United Nations, under the African Union, and we must not be bullied. If you want a copy of everything I've been talking about, it's going to be coming up on our YouTube as well, where you can also, have a copy. Let us all start asking that we are going to declare out of Nigeria and nothing is going to happen. We must tell the British government that. They started the mess in the first place, and we must now allow the mess to end. If we wait and allow 2023 to go ahead, we have all agreed that we want to renew the contract Nigeria. So it is our collective responsibility to end it now before it is too late. Once again, my name is Olayomi Koiki. Like I said, Nigerians, let us all ask the question, what is the language of Nigeria? What is the culture of Nigeria? And why should we save Nigeria? For what and who are we saving Nigeria for? For what purpose are we saving Nigeria for? As I'm about to end the program in 29 minutes, you should ask yourself the same question. Are you a free person with your identity? Is your identity that you are being told right now the right identity, or does identity have been eaten away? Are you a true Nigerian or a true Yoruba man? What is your take on that? Once again, my name is Jumoke Oyeleke, and as I continue to educate us on Starr Radio UK, the currency, the Naira, continue to devalue. We're going to give the update now in just about a few minutes, and then you'll be able to know all the latest news headline from Nigeria. But if you are just joining me for the first time, remember that Nigeria has created more damage to a lot of us. I will be giving us more news in just about a few minutes, as we're just 28 minutes before the end of the program, and later on I'll be joining the Yoruba World Media as we'll be going into the town hall meeting later on tonight. Nigerians, the 1999 Constitution is a fraudulent constitution, deliberately put together not to work, and everybody knows that. Sorry we can't take calls tonight, but next week I promise you I will open the phone line for all our listeners. But tonight I will not be able to open the phone line, but next week I will do so. As I'm now going to go into the final segment of the program where we discuss all the news headline from Nigeria, I say good evening once more to every one of you that have joined me, and I can only say we appreciate your time spent with us tonight. It's been a very good one. We appreciate you. We enjoy you when you're here with us on Starr Radio UK. Once again, if you go on my community on YouTube, you'll be able to read the letter, and you can also download a copy for your own pursuit. As I'm now taking us through the headline, earlier on I talked about the breaking news that was coming from Nigeria in Benue State, where terrorists have actually attacked and killed multiple innocent Nigerians, especially the police officer have been killed as well by the Fulani terrorists. Let us ask again and again, who is being favored as this country called Nigeria put together in 1914 by the British government? Nigeria is not functioning, but the British government, I'm going to read that letter one more time, says, and I quote, that Nigeria is a sovereign nation and they cannot do much to help us. So that means we would have to help ourselves if we still want to be known as the Yoruba people. If otherwise, every one of us will be known as the Nigerian that was created, but we can stop it. And the only way we can stop it is let us all work together, to tell the world who we are. We are not Nigerians. We are the Yoruba, the self-determination, and we can continue to tell people about the Yoruba-ness, how good we are, and how we want to be known as Yoruba, as rather as known as Nigerians. Nigeria is not who we are. That was what the British told us, and we must stop that as quickly as possible. So I'm going to read that letter one more time for the benefit of those of you that probably did not get the letter in the first place. And I say thank you so much to everyone for your love, your support, to myself, to my other platforms, for being there. And you're not doing this for me. I mean, we are all doing this, to save lives of our people that have been subjected to all kind of manners of different things that, sometimes, you ask yourself, is this really, something? Again, just like I say, somebody's just saying, carry your load first. Don't expect us to help you carry it at the initial stage. Explanation: no country will come out in the open to support you in breaking up your country. You must start first, go for the jugular, and then they will come so as to prevent escalation before it causes problem for the whole world. Conclusion: Yoruba nation must be declared. If we do not declare Yoruba nation, nobody's going to come. Okay? nobody is gonna come. So fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń gbọ́ mi látẹ̀ǹkan tí ẹ̀ bá ti jẹ́ kí Yorùbá nation ká declare ibi tá a máa wà forever la wà yẹn. Ibi tá a wà náà la máa wà yẹn, wọ́n ò ní jẹ́ kí Nàìjíríà kó pín. Britain ò ní allow kí Nàìjíríà kó pín. Òtítọ́ lẹ gbọ́ lẹ́nu mi yẹn. Àwa ló kù sí lọ́wọ́ láti jẹ́ kó mọ̀ pé a fẹ́ pín, a fẹ́ wà nínú ìlú tí wọ́n kó wa papọ̀ pẹ̀lú ẹ̀. Àmọ́ ìgbà tá a bá ń sọ pé ká declare, àwọn kan ní ká má tí declare, ká dúró kí Britain wá fún wa ní declaration. Britain ti kọ lẹ́tà nísìnyí tí mo kà fún wa through aunty wa tí wọ́n kọ lẹ́tà sí. Sorry for those of you that do not understand that language. It's a beautiful language called Yoruba language. Wọ́n ti kọ lẹ́tà nísìnyí pé àwọn ò lè gbà kí Nàìjíríà kó pín. Lẹ́tà tí British government kọ nìyẹn. I've sent this letter as well to Professor Banji Akintoye and all our leaders for their own pursuit. It is entirely up to us now to pool our resources quickly and do the needful. I've sent a copy as well to Professor Wale Adeniran. A copy will be going as well to Mrs. Modupe Onitiri. A copy will be going to Global Directorate. A copy will be going to Yoruba One Voice. Tẹ́yìn náà bá ti rí lẹ́tà yẹn, ẹ tètè bá wa pín káàkiri kí everybody lè mọ̀ pé in tí a ti ń pariwo pé a fẹ́ dá dúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè kò lè wá sí ìmúṣẹ o, nítorí pé àwọn British ti sọ fún wa nísìnyí pé àwọn ò lè bá wa pín Nàìjíríà tí ẹ fẹ́ pín yẹn, torí pé sovereign country ni, communion clashes ni, wọ́n náà ń bára wa jà ní pé ká lọ yanjú ẹ̀ láàrin ara wa. Wọ́n ní ká lọ parí ìjà tó ń bẹ láàrin ara wa. In tí British government ń sọ fún wa, òun ni mo kà fún yín yẹn. Ó wá kù sí wọn lọ́wọ́, ó kù sí mi lọ́wọ́. British government ti kọ lẹ́tà jáde báyìí o tí a ti kà. Ẹ jẹ́ ká lẹ́tà yẹn lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ká tó máa lọ. Èdè òyìnbó ni wọ́n fi kọ, èdè òyìnbó náà dẹ̀ ni màá fi bá yín kà. Thank you for your letter of July, of the 6th of July to the Prime Minister about the recognition of Yoruba nation. I am responding as a member of the Nigerian unit in the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. The UK government shares your concerns about incidents of intercommunion violence in Nigeria. Our assessment is that the key drivers of these are competition over land and natural resources. Wọ́n nítorí pé tí à ń torí ẹ̀jà láàrin ara wa kò ju pé nítorí pé ilẹ̀ àti natural resources. Historically, grievances and criminality, religion can also be a factor. Wọ́n ní ẹ̀sìn gan wà lára ìdí tí a ṣe ń bára wa jà ní Nàìjíríà. Ìyẹn mo ṣe máa ń sọ fún yín pé ìjẹ̀sìn kọ́ la gbé dání. And this is exactly what the British is now saying. That is because of the religious fight. And I think, my engineer are working to get the copy of that letter to my background for the pursuit of those of you that are watching us. That is the copy of the letter right there that we received from one of our listeners that shared that copy with us this evening. This is the letter that the British government have sent to us, telling us that it is a communion clashes. It is a religious clashes. Ìjẹ̀sìn là ń bára wa jà. Christian and Muslim are fighting. Muslim and Christian are fighting. The religious are fighting. If we remain like this and continue the campaign without a declaration, we are going nowhere. Like I said, I have actually sent all these letters that I'm reading to you to all our leaders across all the platforms. If you also have different groups, this is what you should be discussing in your group. Debate lele. Don't waste the energy and the time putting some content that is not interested to us. I want us to take a look at this and then push this message to our platform, in our Telegram, on our Facebook, in our Zoom. Even people should start having meeting tonight on this letter. If we wait for the British government, we will wait forever. Let me continue with the letter. Religion can also be a factor. However, it is important to know that the perpetrators do not come from one community. The British is not pinning the problem to the Fulanese. They are probably pinning it to the Yorubas, to the Igbo, to the Middle Belt, to the 371 ethnic groups that the British put together. 11 minutes past 8 p.m. local time in London from Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. The British government is telling myself and you tonight that the problem that we are facing in Nigeria is not by the Fulanese. It's every one of us. And you can see why. If you lose focus, I keep telling you all the time, this is the correspondent by the representative of the British government in UK. While we are wasting our energy about things that are frivolous, things that are not interested, things that are not important, ìjà tá ń jà tó necessary, instead of us to remain focused on what they are telling us. We are here complaining about unnecessary things all over the place. If we wait for the British government, we are going to wait forever, and we are not going to achieve the Yoruba nation that we want this year. I pray that is not going to happen. If we fail to declare Yoruba nation out of Nigeria, we will all remain Nigeria in 2023. I don't want to remain in Nigeria in 2023. I want to be out of Nigeria as quickly as possible. I don't want to remain in Nigeria in 2023. This is Starr Radio UK. We are now 15 minutes before I hand over back to the studio. I'm going to read more from that letter. Bear with me. And the letter goes again as says, religion can also be a factor. However, it is important to know that the perpetrators do not come from one ethnic or religious group, and the devastating effect are felt by communities of different faith and ethnicity. If the British did not put us together, we will not be talking about all these problems. The UK government support local and national peace building initiative. How do we have peace with the Fulani terrorists that is killing us? The most important, ISIS, killing people all over the world as a terrorist organization. How do we have peace with the Boko Haram? How do we have peace with those that do not want to have peace? This is what the British government is telling us. Let's continue. The devastating effects are felt by communities and different faith and ethnicity. The UK government supports local and national peace building initiatives to tackle intercommunal violence, including through our work with the Nigerian Governors Forum and National Peace Committee. Finally, you call for the UK government to recognize an independent Yoruba nation. They are not going to recognize you. The UK government respects the territorial integrity of the Nigeria they created, and they are not going to recognize a Yoruba nation. It's as simple as that. The British government have spoken. So if any one of you watching me right now, and you're a believer of Yoruba nation, Biafra nation, Arewa nation, Middle Belt nation, and you think that the British government is going to come and do recognition, they've told you point blank now, we do not recognize you because Nigeria is a territorial integrity country that they created in the first place. British ń sọ fún yín pé Nigeria tèmi o is a territorial integrity. This letter was sent by the British authority, Commonwealth. And it has now shown that if any one of us is still thinking that we should wait more longer than 2022. Let's continue. We encourage dialogue. The British want us to dialogue with the Fulani terrorists, the ISIS, the Boko Haram. That's what the British government is asking us to go and do. Ẹ lọ dialogue láàrin ara yín, ẹ lọ parí ìjà. The British government says, and I quote, we encourage dialogue between the many 371 ethnic groups that was put together that never speak the same language. ìjọba Britain sọ fún yín pé ẹ lọ yanjú ẹ̀ láàrin ara yín. And this is why I am saying we must now buckle up and prepare for the super rally. Let's continue. We encourage dialogue between many ethnic groups and communities that make up, did you hear that? That make up and contribute to the strength and diversity of Nigeria. Are you sure that we have the diversity? Are we sure that the 371 ethnic groups is making Nigeria a very good one? Shegun Honor, my brother, my uncle says, no more useless dialogue that is taking us to nowhere. Every day people are sitting down in Zoom meeting, talking. When we should now start putting action in place. If we keep talking like this, 2023 is going to come and join us. So when the super rally is called, every Yoruba sons and daughters home and abroad must be ready to participate. Whether you can go home or not, you must be ready to participate. Good evening to you, Mrs. Bimileke, and welcome to the program. I'm just 13 minutes before I hand over back. I'm reading the letter that was sent to one of our auntie by the British government today. The British government has spoken. Aziz from Miami, good evening to you, my brother. If anybody is waiting for the British government to come and solve your problem, you are going to wait forever. Let me finish this. Next week, we will take calls on this particular letter, but on my program later on, not today, but tomorrow, we will open the phone line and this will be our conversation. What should we be waiting for now is going to be the question. Should we still wait for the British government campaigning in front of the number 10 Downing Street? They see us, they can see everything we do on the Biafra, but they are not going to help you to break a territorial integrity in Nigeria. That is the way the British look up to Nigeria. Adekomi said, the British government, your 1914 amalgamation has expired. Pay cash. Thank you so much for joining us on Instagram. On Facebook, rather. My name is Alami Koiki, and you've been watching Star Radio UK, Niger Voices, every Wednesday. Thank you for your help, your support, your prayers. And just to finish up the letter, the United Kingdom support and respect the Nigerian government commitment to work for the secure and prosperous Nigeria for all its citizens that are indigenous, and is committed to working with Nigeria in support of its objective. That is the letter that we received today, and this letter is now proof that the British government is not ready to break up Nigeria as a lot of us are thinking it's going to happen. So I can't go further than that. I'm just going to be sending greetings to every one of you, and I can hand over back to Mr. Archie and the rest of the team back in the studio. My name is Olayomi Koiki. You can also send an email to the fcdo.correspondent@fcdo.gov.uk, where they will be able to also write you a letter of the same content, or probably slightly different. If you're waiting for the recognition from the British government, the proof has now come out that the British government will never recognize us as a nation. Once again, I appreciate every one of you. Let's continue the support for the Super Rally. We need more support. Keep that support coming so that we can do more stuff, especially the souvenir. How many of you love these? I'm thinking maybe we should do a lot of these and share that as well. The beautiful face cap, with our emblem, the Yoruba nation. If it's something that you believe in, let us help our Super Rally, fundraising that we are doing as we continue, to tell the world our problems. But our problems can only be solved by ourselves. The rally is getting closer. Let us do everything within our power, to encourage as many people, to participate, support your community. Let's do everything possibly best, so that we can have a successful outing. There's no way anybody's going to kill you. Don't let anybody tell you that when we come out for the Super Rally, we are all going to be killed. That is not going to happen. The international community will be alerted about our outing. But one thing is, if we do nothing and say nothing, we will all remain in Nigeria in 2023. And if we don't want to remain in Nigeria, it is our responsibility to tell those at home to all come out when the right time comes for the super rally. Orúkọ tèmi ni Ọlá Yomi Koiki, tí gbogbo yín mọ̀ sí Koiki Media from our own platform. But tonight I've been running this platform on my very favorable Starr Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. You can also follow us on all the social media handle. I'd like to say thank you so much to each and every one of you, for staying with us, when we run our program late night. Let us pray for the family of Jumoke Oyeleke. Let us pray for the family of everyone that have been affected, by the so-called Nigeria as we know it, that has literally created more problem for us than helping us in the first place. We cannot go further, and I can say all the time, may Nigeria never happen to you, may Nigeria never happen to me. Thank you so much, Sani Oseni on Instagram. Thank you so much, our daddy. Thank you so much, Success Fukaro. Thank you for joining us. Ocean Crest 55. Thank you for joining us. Olusheyi Adelagan. Thank you so much. Baby Ibeji. Thank you so much. F_Thomas. Thank you for joining. Joe_K. GK Babati. Thank you for joining. Always love _God. Thank you for joining. And those of you on that platform as well. Olami_Lekon. Thank you for joining. Papa_Gemini. Thank you for joining. Happy birthday to anyone that is celebrating their birthday. A shout out to our beautiful mother in Dublin, Grace. She's celebrating her birthday today. We wish you long life on Starr Radio UK. And if you're celebrating your birthday in the month of October, just like Chief Sunday Igboho has done in the beginning of the week in October, I say happy birthday. As we are leaving you, I'll be transmitting back again, later on, on the other platform. But for now, thank you so much, Pastor Mo. Let's appreciate those of you on all the other platforms. And just about 7 minutes. Olarewaju says, the British cannot recognize Yoruba nation. This is simple because they are benefiting from how can you remove a bone from the mouth of a dog. I vow I don't care to sacrifice my blood. Nigeria must wind down this year. World B says, no going back. We don't need them. Joyce, my mother, thank you so much. It is time for all Yoruba to file a case action lawsuit against the British government. Olawuyi Moses says, we Yoruba, let's go home. Let me read more of your comment. We don't beg the Maradua British to recognize us. Joseph, my mother, Joyce says, I agree with you. Likewise, Olanrewaju Oriyomi say, British should take note. We're going to go in full scale of chaos to break Nigeria by force. Similarly, we the Yorubas will be forcefully out of Nigeria now or never. Oladapo Toyin Shola say, Yoruba nation is the only solution. Ezekiel Dotun, a man of questionable character does not questionable things, and he must be questioned. The British must be questioned. Yoruba nation now. As Shegunwani. Olanrewaju also say, White Lion, Nigeria is more dangerous than ISWAP, Boko Haram, Fulani, marauders. Yoruba nation now. And Oladapo, good evening to you as well. My mother Joyce says, serious would you be that? Comfort Adele says, only fools and thieves will believe that Nigeria can be redeemed. And that is coming from that platform. Let me read the next platform quickly. I'm just 5 minutes away. Taiwo Sadiku say, what do you expect from them? They are part of the problem in the first place with the amalgamation and also giving power at the independent to a group who claims not to be interested in the independence of Nigeria and the fraudulent censor conducted. The British gave more numbers to the North prior to the election and the censor in 1958. Shitu says, good job. Thank you so much. Ariola, we do not need them. It is our human right. Well, I hope we're going to do the needful. Pay cash says, nice job. Location 9 call Nigeria, bribe British government. Give them our own fuel and our code, no going back. Yoruba nation now. Kenny, UK can never and will never subscribe to the breakup of Nigeria because they are the root cause of the devastating problem happening in Nigeria from 1960 to today. It is time for the Yoruba to take the bull by the horns and confront the evil Nigeria that suck human blood for water. Yoruba nation declaration is no going back. Olamilekon says, all these breaches, they are very, very wicked. Adewale Saise Equato. Chaos. White Lion ni Baba. No going back. Yoruba nation. Lafe. And White Lion lies makes go for longer years, but the truth will always catch up. Yes, lies goes for a long time, but the truth will catch up. The truth is catching up on the British government. Babawa Michael Awe says, Ekushe takun takun Koiki. Badamose Ismaila said, good job, Mr. Koiki. My beautiful auntie, I remember during the June 12 rally, she came up to me and she said, Temi. I'm like, wow, what a beautiful auntie. Thank you so much. You say, Ekweto, KOIKIMEDIA, up Yoruba Nation now. Shamsi didn't say Yoruba Nation now. Yoruba Nation, we won. And Sunday, Ajayi says, Yoruba Nation now. Jeje Ishola, my brother, I know you've been trying to call me Action Man. Bear with me. I will speak with you. I know sometimes when we call those of you back home, the network is frustrating. I will definitely speak with you as well. If you have not received your flag, good evening to Grace Senior, our grandma. Nigeria is finished. And I think that's about it from that. Let me see what is going on in the comment section on the YouTube. Bumi Popwala, my beautiful auntie, you say, we are naive to think that they will terminate their source of income. Our instability is their gain. Adesina Adeyamo say, don't worry, Koiki. At the Super Rally, Nigeria will let Yoruba Nation go. I love that one. Wow. Don't worry, Koiki. At the Super Rally, Nigeria will let Yoruba Nation go. At your daily talk show, Mr. Koiki, you don't need to tell us. We knew we might have written the type of letter you read, the response. God bless you, Mama. Prince Abimbola, good afternoon. I think I've read that already. And I think that's about it. I now have to hand over back to Starr Radio UK. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and I will be back again same time next week, where we're going to have, I almost forgot our good listeners on the Mix LR. There are 5 of you right there, and I say thank you so much. In all the Yoruba Nation groups, wherever you are around the world, I love you so much. And remember, let us continue to pray for the Yoruba land. Let us continue to pray for all our leaders, and let us remain focused in the midst, of everything that we do, because it is our collective effort that is going to take us to the next part of the Yoruba Nation. Baleb Dada Nuruddin, I know you called me. You probably were not aware I was on a live show. Thank you so much. I'll call you back. If you've been trying to get hold of me, whether you want to support our Super Rally donation, or you just want to talk to me about something, you are concerned, you are worried, let me know, through a WhatsApp message. I will return those messages back, in due course. But for now, let us, remain absolute, dedicated and focused that we are not going to cave in, for the crime against humanity. We are Yoruba first before anything, and we must continue to appreciate the Yorubaness in us. There's no crime, in asking for self-determination. Shout out to all our, good listeners from the New York. Shout out to all our listeners in Texas, all over the world, and wherever we are. Shout out to each and every one of us. And I say thank you so much, to every one of you. As you're driving on from work, in New York, it's coming up to 4:30. And to every one of us, if you come across that message, share it on to the next person, so that we can know truly that the British government is not ready to let the integrity, the territorial part of Nigeria to be disintegrated by the Yoruba or the Biafra. And that is a fact that I'm telling us tonight. My name is Olayomi Koiki. Muki from wherever you're watching, and I'll now hand over back to my producer, Mr. Achi Amon, that I've been working quietly behind the scene, and I say thank you so much, Mr. Achi. Next week, I will have the phone line fully open for more discussion, but this is how far I can go tonight. Bye for now. Wow, àti já kúrò lórí Starr Radio. Okay, let me bring us back here. Ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ ń wà lórí bíbá yìí. Àti kúrò lórí Starr Radio, so àti wà lórí Koiki Báyìí officially. Wow, I need to take some drink. Mo ní láti lọ join studio. tàbá ń dúró de British government ọlọ́run má jẹ́ kí a wà nínú ìgbẹ́ tí èṣìṣẹ́ oríṣiríṣi máa balẹ̀ wa ṣẹ́ríìdì tí àwa ṣe ní pé ká declare Yorùbá nation àwa ti mọ̀ pé wọ̀ níjẹ́ lọ àwa ti mọ̀ yẹn ibi tẹ́mi gbélé lé for 23 years ṣẹ́rí gbogbo àwọn tó ń sọ fún yín pé ká má declare nínú ọdún yìí wọ́n mọ̀ tó ń ṣe wọ́n mọ̀ pé irú British ò ní support wa America ò ní support yín France ò ní support yín Germany ò ní support yín so kó tó lè di pé a máa débi tá à ń lọ ẹja kúrò nínú studio mode nísìnyí ká padà sínú Yorùbá nation mode ẹ mọ̀ pé mode méjì la máa ń lò àbọ̀rọ̀mọ̀ yẹn nísìnyí I don't want to stay too long because I have to join the world media because we have the town hall media tonight as well so okay ẹ jẹ́ n kí producer mi ẹ bá máa kí producer mi dáadáa o àwọn tó ń jẹ́ ká máa rí platform yẹn lò it's important that we appreciate and we pray for them because tá a bá rí platform yẹn lò a lè máa sọ tá à ń sọ níbẹ̀ àbúrọ̀mọ̀ yẹn nísìn wàá ṣeré wà látàjàre iṣẹ́ ṣo ti délé Ọ̀làtà ni I'm happy to hear that from the UK government the game just start bàbá bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ó ti dojú kókó báyìí mo fẹ́ pẹ́ because mo ní láti lọ sí town hall media ẹ̀gbọ́n mi kan béèrè pé is this true èmi mo share ní tí Koiki bá ṣe tún béèrè pé is this true ẹ̀jẹ̀ mi sáré pé ẹ̀gbọ́n mi yẹn ìwé ẹ̀tẹ̀ tí ń pè mí má bínú is always busy like that ẹ̀gbọ́n mi yẹn béèrè is it true ọ̀dà obviously so anyway yẹn wa ẹ jẹ́ kí n máa lọ so that ká lè a máa sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí lọ́la kò yẹ nísìn tó bá di ọ̀la lágbára Ọlọ́run kò ní bàjẹ́ fún ìyá mi Gbémilékè m1 la máa ṣì gbà kò yẹ nísìn m1 yẹn òun la ṣì máa lò bọ̀ ẹ yẹ ká jáde ní super rally ẹ jẹ́ kí super rally kó roll out òkè òtí délé pẹ̀lẹ́ kó àtàrọ̀ wàlátà kò ní bàjẹ́ fún ẹ Ọlọ́run máa fi ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì gbogbo wa àdẹ̀kú palẹ̀mọ́ àwọn tó ò fi jẹ́ ká lọ ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Ṣẹ́gun mọ̀ owó ìbáyìí nínú glasses yìí wọ́n mọ̀ pé ta bá ti declare àti strangle Britain àwọn gangan àti strangle wọn báyìí but wọ́n ní kẹ́ má declare because wọ́n fẹ́ mo kí ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Fatai Ogunmẹ́fun wọ́n fẹ́ ká keep Nàìjíríà ẹ ṣe gan gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ fún ìyàwó Jagun ní owó quite a lot of donation came through and we have mobilized the money to her as well. So I didn't get through to her today. I guess she's been very busy. Thank you so much. Now, let us continue the support for the super rally. Elio kì í sọ̀rọ̀ eré mọ́ nísìn. Ṣé màá ní strength láti padà wá lálẹ́? Mo ń lọ sí world media nísìn. A máa ṣe media. Wọ́n ti wà hàn látago méje. So mo ní láti join wọn nísìn. But tí bá ní strength màá padà wá lálẹ́. Ká wá sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí but tí bá ti ní strength yẹn àsọ di ọ̀la lágbára Ọlọ́run but màá fẹ́ kó join tètè pé ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lamẹ́ríkà náà màá láǹfààní àti gbọ́ program yẹn so but we see how it goes if I have the strength tonight mo ti sùn díẹ̀ I will come back out if I don't have the strength because Starr studio ti world media only take wa títí di 10 maybe after that I roll out but we see how it goes tí a bá fail láti declare nínú ọdún yìí that's the end of it. So rest kẹ̀gbọ́n mi mo ti sùn máa sùn lọ́sàn mo ti sùn lọ́sàn so let me end all the broadcast because tí bá ti join the scene àmọ̀ pé feed wọn máa jáde and then ẹ̀rí mi lórí town hall media the Yoruba world media bye for now.